Welcome to a very noisy morning on the boat. We've got some action going on. Don't know what all that noise is all about. Sounds like they're doing some edge cutting or something. Right, so because I've run out of wood, well, not totally, I've got loads to be honest, but the wrong size of wood. Right, so because I've ran out of 12mm board, I'm going to be looking at the wiring today. As you can see, there's already a lot of wiring in. Some of it was a complete mess that you've probably seen in other videos, like with speaker wire in the way. It's just a bit of a joke really. So I'm going to measure all of the cabling today to order some brand new stuff in. Some of this I could probably reuse. I don't like how some of it is. I don't know if you can see that. Let me zoom. There we go. It's crushed. Look. You can see what that's done. It's almost broke the cable. It's like it's almost snapped in half. Look. And it's not even the proper stuff that. So that's just 1.5mm. No, I think it's 1mm. 1mm white flex, which you're not even supposed to use on the boat anyway, and they've used it for every single light on the boat, every spotlight that you can see. So yeah, I'm just gonna change it, I think, for what it's worth. I know cable's expensive, especially when you start going into the larger cables like 6mm and 8mm. You're talking 150 some odd quid for a decent sized drum, because I'm going to need that for some of the circuits down the bottom. But there we go, such is life. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, measuring stuff out. And do you know what, I don't like how, I might fetch this out first, this boxing, because I don't like how the cabling goes around the stove. Oh, I don't like that neither. It just doesn't sit well with me. I'd rather, I know you could go up in the size of cable, but I'd rather go all the way down this side and come across to go past the stove, rather than have all the heat just pounding through that square section there where the chimney is and affecting the cables. Okay, pencils at the ready. Alright, extremely hard. I'm caggy-handed, and yeah, we're well known to be writing a lot different to you right-handed folk. So, off we go. I could do with an haircut. My hair ain't grown this long in ages. I normally skin it off because I'm getting bald. Yeah, look. Right, one measurement that's pretty much always going to be the same is from my fuse board up and across to about this point here. This is going to be the same. So if I just measure that 40, let's just account for it going back a bit, 60, so 1.6 meters. So everything I'm going to add onto the fuse board is 1.6 meters. I can just measure everything now from this corner, and then I've just got to add 1.6 meters, which should be easy enough. Right, let's start on lights first. Let's put you back a bit. Don't need to see me all the time here. To the boat. Lighting. When I spoke to Martin before, he says it's better to have as many lighting circuits as you can, because I noticed there was about 4 lighting circuits, and on this boat, on the fuse board, there's literally 2. Yeah, lights 1 and lights 2, which he says it's better to have more. So I'm going to go for that. He's the expert. And the other thing I want in the galley is, oh, that's a speaker. So I want an extractor fan. I'm going to put an extractor fan in. The cooker's going to be here, so anything rising that we don't really want there can be extracted out at that point. I wanted one in the shower as well. So anyway, you'll see that later. So the lighting circuit for the galley is going to literally be 1, 2, 3, 4. No spots under here, are there? I want lights in the cupboards. Well, I suppose you can get the battery ones, but anyway, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and have 2 switches. Yeah, one switching the lights on in the cupboards and one switching the lights on in the galley. Okay, so the furthest point 1.7, 1.8. 1.9, 2.9, let's say 3 meters. So the furthest point. We could have our switch here, which is literally, that's probably going to be about a meter, isn't it? 70, yeah, meter to the switch. So we're literally going to be coming out, splitting in live down here through to the switch, coming up and across to our first light. Yeah, okay, so 1.7, 2.7, 3.4 if you did it like that. Okay, so you can go over, wire that one, come onto that one, come back across and wire onto that, and then go back to the fuse board. So I'll put 3.7 on the furthest. Same again then for the living room lights this time. I don't like calling them saloon. Let's measure every metre on the boat. I think that'll be useful to do. 1 metre. 2 meters. Sorry if this is boring, but I'm just going to document it all anyway. I've measured to the end of the boat now. It's 14 meters from that starting point at the galley, so I know that it's 15.6, 15.5 meters to the fuse board, which is going to help planning the rest of my wiring. So it's nice to be starting this part. Oh, I just noticed this. Yeah, let's get this. Hopefully it doesn't switch off. Right, so I don't know if this is common practice. In fact, let me just turn the video around. The live comes down, goes into the switch L1, and then the live then goes into L2, which forms the switch, and then the negatives are tied together in the earth strap. I don't, is that a thing on boats? I don't know. I'm laughing, but maybe it is a common thing. I don't know. But it just, coming from a domestic and commercial wiring background, it just doesn't sit well with me, those connections. But there we go. Let's look further into it. So after discovering this, I thought I'd start stripping back a few things. I'm taking the lights out of the living area, and they're not in great condition, to be honest. There we go. They're crumbling. They're in a right state. I knew that I was going to have to replace the lights, but I just wanted to show you what they look like. And when purchasing a boat, you know, you inherit all of these things that you don't even think about. But I mean, look at that. It's all bald, the chromas. Started taking off all the tape on the looms just to trace some of the cables. And what I've noticed as well, you can get really mixed up with cables if you've got them all together and they're all same colours. It's so easily done. I've done it countless times, and here's a good example of it. So it looks like 6mm, could be more. So as they run along here, so there's a bit of a flurry of cables going off here in different directions, and what I noticed as I went further down the boat, which is pretty easy to spot, that the gulper pump, you probably won't pick the colours up because the lighting's not great in here, but yeah, you can kind of see it there, can't you? So there's a green cable and a black cable for your live and negative. Now, I pulled them back because I thought, well, that's a given, that those two cables are definitely for that circuit. And as I started to pull the cables back, the live is still going. That's fine. The green cable, I'm assuming, let's zoom that properly. Right, so the green cable, as you can see there, it's going to go all the way back to the fuse board. But the negative actually gets like cut off there and is supplying the negative for the lighting circuit. The wrong negative got cut into, so it's the negative for the gulper pump. I mean, as far as boating goes, that might be okay. It might be fine just to attach onto a negative and go all the way back to the fuse board. As long as it goes back to the fuse board and battery, that's fine. But usually you don't do that in the electrical world on domestics and commercial industrial premises. You just don't do that. So they got the negatives mixed up. That should have been, I would imagine, that should have been the gulper pump negative, and yeah, they'd easily got it mixed up. That's a pure example of how easy it is to mix cables up on a boat, and these were done years ago by professionals. Okay, so tracing back the toilet cable, that was pretty straightforward enough. I'm sure there's a breaker there for toilet, so that's that one. That was clear enough. So the negative didn't get broke into on that circuit, which is good. Okay, thought I'd show this before I go any further. So this cable was in the bedroom right at the end of the boat. So that's 10 meters long. It goes to this mess, goes behind the wall, and the live, it looks like it goes down here. And I fetch this out. And then I started to pull this, and this was going nowhere. There we go. What is that? What the hell is that? Oh, okay, so that black cable is that switch there. So where's this flex going? Oh god, I'm pulling it. It's coming. Absolutely nowhere. And the cables are almost touching. Can't even see, can you? Hang on. I've not done anything with these at all. You've seen these as I've started to fetch them out, but yeah, they're so close to touching. Plus it's 10 meters long anyway. I mean, the volt drop on that would have been absolutely nuts, because it's only, is it 0.75mm? God, my back's hurting today. 2.75mm twin flex. What an abomination. Looks like this crimp is actually a thing where you could plug it into this one, say, bend it, and then have an open spade then to plug another cable into. I've never seen anything like that before. Again, with through crimps, I've only ever used them on a hop and a skip, really. It's not something that we used as a standard. We just used to use block connectors, or now, as you see in the modern world of electrics, Wagos. Yeah, they seem to be a good tool, and some people use them on their boats. I don't know about that, to be honest, but anyway, so this contraption is going absolutely nowhere. My attention slightly shifted because the cables are really tight behind the chimney, and I couldn't get to anything, so I had to fetch this out anyway because we're going to get a new diesel stove fitted. But yeah, I had to take the surround out, so it's finally out. I was a bit nervous about fetching that out. I mean, I've not damaged things that much, to be honest. It's quite strong, really. That's 6mm boarding. It's pretty good stuff. So I've uncovered the chimney. I thought it might be something that we could just unbolt here and take that out, but I don't know whether I'm going to have to cut it. Might have to. Obviously we can unbolt it here to take the collar off, but that's going to be done closer to the time when we get the stove fitted. They can't actually come until January apparently, but I'm going to try and get some of the work done myself, so it speeds up their process. They've got a whole boat to go at with pretty much nothing on it, and it's going to be the best time to do it at the moment. So it just makes sense for them to come out earlier if I can get some of the work done. But what does need doing is there's got to be a pipe ran from the engine bay to where the stove's going. There's also a pump that needs fitting. I'm taking these radiators out, and we're just having 3 radiators, one in the toilet, one in the shower area, and one in the bedroom, and that will feed off a back boiler that's on the back of the reflex stove. And yeah, hopefully that should all be sorted for when they get here. I think they said that they wanted a hand doing that. I think that there was something else. Oh, just the heating connection. So I'll get all that ready. At the moment we've got a Webasto, and I'm going to disconnect the Webasto boiler because we don't need it anymore, and I'll just need to configure the pipe work. So we've got a flow going into the calorifier from the new reflex boiler, so it heats the water as well as a return. And yeah, just get that pipe work ready for them just to connect onto, otherwise they'd have to do all of that, and it's all going to cost me money. So yeah, that's the plan. Anyway, so back to the wiring. I'm still tracing cables back, to be honest. Here's my blue cable from my gulper pump, and the negative, which is now attached to the lighting circuit. So I'm still tracing cables back